days and weeks, as well as months, for you to make a very informed decision. And of course, this show is just here to do that. Now, all you have to do, if you have a question or a concern that you would want to be answered, you can go to our Twitter, that is Smart24TV. You can also follow the hashtag financial markets, and that will definitely bring you what you need to know about the financial markets here at Smart24 TV. Now, you can also give us a comment down in the in the description, sorry. You can also, that is on our YouTube, going to our channel and subscribe for more content, of course, that will be coming your way. Back to the stock market. Yesterday was a Thursday, and we see that the trades, of course, happened between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. However, we had only about 4 participants. That was the companies that were able to trade on the markets yesterday. 4 out of the 18 listed companies. We have 18 listed companies, and 10 of these are domestically listed, whereas 8 of them are cross-listed from the Nairobi Securities Exchange mainly. And when you look at the trading that was done here on the Uganda Securities Exchange, MTN was a top gainer as well as a top mover. A very good day for MTN here on the stock market, and definitely we look forward to even much better performance in the future. However, this was a significant move by about 3.89% in terms of price valuation, closing the day with a price of 188.04 Ugandan shillings. And then we also had other companies that performed really well. We had Centum Investments, who improved by 2.3%. and as well as Nation Media Group at a 1.94% improvement. And then we had on the losing side, unfortunately, KCB Group, who lost most after losing about 2.15% of their price valuation, closing the day at a price of 1,294.49. However, like most of the other cross-listed companies, KCB did not have any activity on the market. This movement in price was entirely based on factors outside the demand and supply. Remember, for cross-listed companies, whatever happens on the domestic exchange affects directly the price on the domestic, on the cross-listed counter here on the Uganda Securities Exchange. So, for example, perhaps KCB could have declined in price back on the Nairobi Stock Exchange. That significantly still affects the company's price on the Uganda Securities Exchange, regardless of whether the company had movement in price or not. And that's why you have to be very careful when especially investing on cross-listed companies, because there are factors that, you know, depend on other things, not just the demand and supply, that actually affect the stock price of these particular stocks that are cross-listed. We also had Equity Bank Limited lose about 0.63% of their price valuation, as well as East African Breweries Limited, who came out after a loss of also 0.49%. In terms of volume, MTN, like I mentioned, traded the biggest volume and was the top mover on the markets yesterday, after having traded about 541,686 shares yesterday. And, you know, MTN also was followed by Stanbic Bank, who traded 269,257 shares yesterday on the stock market. Bank of Baroda also had some activity at 114,000 shares that were recorded yesterday, as well as Wumeme, who came in after a gain of 17,700 shares on the stock market yesterday. Now, regarding the performance of the index, following the good performance of counters like MTN, Centum Investments, as well as Nation Media Group, the overall performance registered an increase or a slight much better improvement than the day before. And we see that regarding the index here, that is the all share index, which tracks the performance of all the companies on average that are listed on the exchange. It improved by 1.49 points, and that was a 0.12% increase in the daily based on a daily gain. And then looking at the 1 week performance, the company has still lost about 1.44% value on the 1 week basis. And when you look at a 4 week basis, the company, the all share index has still lost about 10.16%. Now, due to the also having the local companies perform very well, that is, for example, MTN, and we have the local company index as well going up. The local company index went up by about 2.22%. Now, that's a significant increase there, and this was influenced by MTN and reached over 276.47 points. Making it a 1 week gain of 2.67% and a 4 week loss of 0.63% on the weekly basis. And then when you look at the year to date for the local company index, it has lost about 14.84%, meaning the local companies have not yet regained their strength with which they began the year yet. But at least we're seeing that as we come into the close of the third quarter, entering into the last quarter of the year, the markets generally are performing much better than at least in the middle of this quarter. As of course also we witnessed some turbulence that was created on the market due to inflation. Inflation really affected the stock market, I have to say, because when people are buying commodities much more expensively than they actually used to buy them, their investment habits also tend to change because they no longer have as much money on their hands as they used to. And so this has also been one of the factors that has come to affect investment in the stock market. But regardless, we are hopeful, and as we close the year and coming to almost the last quarter, we are hoping the markets will become more bullish and less bearish, so that we enter the year or the new year in style. And if you want to be part of this action, if you want to know how to own stock is very easy if you give it time, and you must be willing, first of all, to take the risk. You must be willing, secondly, to also save money with an aim of investment. The moment you have the same mindset as, for example, people like Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, who always put money aside to do things, to make things happen, that is the only way you're going to invest in the stock market. Because like any business, it involves risk. You need motivation. You need to know that this business is actually can get very rough sometimes, but also requires patience, because with patience you can be able to benefit and get returns on your investment. All you have to do is open yourself a Securities Central Depository account. This is one of the things that has been made so easy by the Uganda Securities Exchange over the past couple of years. The company has been able to make the registry of individuals on the Securities Depository quite simple. Number one, you can use your smartphone or your computer and visit the Uganda Securities Exchange website. When you do so, you will find a portal known as Easy Portal. You open this portal, they will ask you for some details about yourself, your personal identification data, and that is also your national identity card for citizens, or your passport for non-citizens, and definitely a photograph or a picture of you, and the rest will be history. Your account will be opened almost instantly, and you will receive a notification that your account is opened. When you do that, the next step is to go to your stockbroker. We have 4 of them currently that are licensed by the Capital Markets Authority, that is Uganda. That we have Standard Bank Group, SBG Securities, and as well as Crested Capital. And then we have Dyer and Blair Investment Company, as well as UAP Old Mutual, stock brokerage firm. These will give you an opportunity to invest. And recently, we also had Cheaper Technologies join other stock brokerage firms to be able to sell and buy on behalf of clients some local stocks here in Uganda. So the avenues are very easy, they are very simple, but remember, it's risky business. Please make sure you've studied the game, you understand how it works, and get to know exactly how you get your return and invest for the long term. Because if you're investing for short-term gains, you might be disappointed in the stock market as well. So that is definitely what you should be looking up to. Now, we talked about the collective investment scheme as well. This is a scheme that was, of course, brought up by a few brains thinking that what if we could put hands together? What would happen? Like the name of the scheme, it's a collective investment scheme. So you have people coming together with their funds, and you have these funds invested in different products at once. And these collective investment schemes have helped many people realize their returns on savings. And you don't have to really learn much about the stock market, about the bonds, about the bills, about the derivatives. What the collective investment scheme does is that you have the fund manager managing all this money that comes from different angles. And this fund manager is licensed, so they are authentic, and they are qualified to carry out trading on behalf of the clients. The beauty of the investment scheme is that because it is collective and many people are pulling together their funds, the investments are huge rather than the smaller investments that we usually have. For example, you have your 100,000, you can only buy a small portion of the bond. But when you have $1 trillion from different avenues, then you can buy a bigger bond, and definitely you can get a bigger return. And that is the beauty of the collective investment schemes. And the fund managers around are quite many. And one time we talked about Zeno Investments, which we're going to actually give you later on the show. And they were celebrating 5 years of existence. Zeno was the first Ugandan founded fund manager here in Uganda, and we have a couple of others like Sanlam, Britam Asset Managers, and UAP Old Mutual, and so many others that are from other countries but operate here in Uganda. But Zeno in particular is one fund manager who was founded by Ugandans for Ugandan people as well, which is, and also one of the most technologically advanced fund managers who has used technology to make the access to the investments quite easy and make it accessible to all who can actually take the hat to invest. And so yes, definitely we will also be looking at that today later on the show. But meanwhile, let's take a quick breather. When we return, we look into the performance of each of the stocks, the top mover, MTN, as well as Stanbic, and other companies like Centum, who actually performed well on the market, and definitely will give you some opportunities to see if you can take hold of them. Let's take a quick breather. We'll return shortly.